It's an unspoken rule not to use somebody else's cards.
The hermit will stays for you see. Follow my rule, stay out of danger. Magician. I'll finish this with death. Who's
Who's next?
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Silentpinkgamer, and we're back here with another episode of a Silent Cast. As you can tell by the image, we are going to be talking about tarot. That's how it's actually pronounced, not tarot. But hey, I'm not the one to judge on how anyone pronounces it, but tarot. Tarot is a horror movie that was that came out in this date right here on the screen. And I recently watched it. And I'm here to talk about it. So, of course, before we get started, guys, there will be spoilers. So, if you're not really interested in spoilers or you don't want me to spoil anything for you because you have or potentially one day is going to watch it, please leave a like and click off. This is your time. But if you're here and you don't care either way, let's get into it. So, of course, guys, like it and let's jump right into tarot. As you guys know, tarot has been in this world for many, many years, for many, many centuries. So many different cultures, so many different religions use tarot to predict the future, the present, and the past. But also, it's also used in astrology as well. Some other people use tarot to predict not only your feelings, your emotion, your relationship status, but so much more. Tarot has been used for many, many different reasons. Also, in our most beloved video games that we also love as well. Persona is one of the biggest game franchises that uses tarot to as far as connections to create personas for your antagonist protagonists, and because sometimes antagonists also have tarot creatures, and they're all represented by a specific tarot, and you need these bonds to grow and become stronger to make powerful, more unique personas. And it's actually one of the most funnest games out there, and the stories is quite amazing. So tarot, for me, the way I interpret it, it's actually quite taboo. There's a lot of religion that believes that tarot is representation of the devil. It's sinful work. It's not good. Though everyone may use it in a positive light, there are still believers to believe that trying to predict the present, future, and past is devil work. It's not real. It's magic. It's myth. No one. There's a very few people, maybe a lot more few than few people that actually believe it. But regardless of it, guys, I watched the movie. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of background on what I know about tarot. Obviously, I don't know everything about tarot, but I know enough to be excited about this movie. Coming from playing the Persona games, coming from even having my own tarot decks. Yes, I have three of them. And just interested in knowing the unknown, meaning to where anything that's different, unique, and outlandish or considered taboo, I'm very much interested in, and tarot is one of them. So when this movie's trailer was presented, I was super duper excited. I was on board, ready to go. Let's watch it. And I finally did. So, me and my boo, we stayed up all night watching this movie. Of course, I came in with a fresh pair of eyes and I gave it a fair shot. Now, when I say this, that does not mean it's coming from a negative review. It's actually come from a non-biased review, not a basically like a middle ground. I'm going to talk about the bad, I'm going to talk about the good. So you guys will completely understand where I'm coming from. And of course, guys, this is my opinion. Of course, you don't have to agree with it. This is just how I felt about the movie itself. Tara. So, the beginning of the movie, of course, we do the classic trope. And when I say classic trope, the group of friends, they go rent a house or they go in the woods and, have a party, camping trip. It's always a classic trope in horror movies where that deals with a group of friends and they're partying or they're renting some type of voyage or house to have fun. Do what friends do, right? And then next thing you know it, they find something or they want to do something that will cause them harm later on in the movie. And so they found the basement where there were an old box with tarot cards in it. Now, one of the protagonists, she's an Aquarius representing the movie. I'm not for sure if her real actor is an Aquarius, but she plays the Aquarius of the group. She's the one that reads everyone's futures or fates,
Who stays while you sleep?
as they say. And it goes chaotic, it goes haywire. People start dying, right? So these six, seven, these are your main per, per antagonists. Oh gosh, I'm sorry, guys, I'm stuttering. These are your main antagonist tarot creatures that they use. Now, I do wish they did use all of them because I would have loved to see effects, makeup, cosplay, dress up, special effects, FX effects, whatever you want to call them. I would have loved to see so much more to see what they would have done with each card, but of course, they only stuck with this seven. So, of course, you got the High Priestess in the middle. You got the High Priestess in the middle. You got the Hermit. You got the Devil. You got Death. You got the Magician, Fool, and the Hangman. These are the only ones that you really do see. Now, of course, you do also see other cards, but they're not very prominent. They are not very visually out there. They really focus on these particular ones. Now, my personal reason I feel like they picked these ones is specifically because obviously death and the devil are common. Is common. Death is like scary, spooky, oh my gosh, you're gonna die kind of situation. Of course, death represents not just death, it means change, rebirth, renewal. It's not just death, but in this case of the movies, it just means death. The devil, as we all know, is the devil. Magician, the Fool is a classic because in Persona, our arcana is always the Fool. The Hangman, Hermit, and High Priestess. And Hermit in Persona is normally like a gamer or someone that's kind of stashed away, that's kind of closed off. I wanted to put that out there just in case, if anyone was curious. We don't get to talk about the Hermit much, but I'm glad that they threw him out there. So, we got these friends. They get their card read, and of course, the main card is who comes after them. So, initially, slowly, of course, friends start dying one by one. Whatever whatever was said in the reading was how they ended up dying. And of course, for the most part, there's jump scares, but this movie was interesting, I can say the less, but it wasn't scary. Seeing each of these tarot creatures, entities, demons, spirits, curse, They were interesting nonetheless, but the screen was so dark. They were so much in the shadows, you could barely see that the high priestess had a crown. Now, of course, there was mention of the crown. You see things spiking off from her head, but for the most part, you didn't know if it was her hair, you didn't know if it was a crown, you didn't know exactly what it was. So I was quite disappointed on how much they made these tarot arcanas, creatures, entities, spirits, curse. um, they made them dark. You barely saw them, especially the devil. I don't can't even tell you what the devil looked like. I didn't see him. It felt like he was invisible. The hermit, of course, he had a cloak on and a lantern. The whole thing was the fact that he was cast away, stowed away, so you didn't really see him. Same thing with the hangman. You saw a glimpse of his face and then he disappeared. A lot of these creatures, you didn't really see. And that was one of the main thing I had an issue with. If you're next. If you're not going to use all the arcanas, can we make them visually present so we can actually see their details so they become more terrifying? Just because they're in the dark and they go boo doesn't mean they're scary. I'm sorry. That's my total opinion on that one. But of course, outside of all of that, the acting was okay. The gentleman, I'll put his picture up. He's supposed to be the comedy rate. If I remember correctly, he was a Taurus, bullheaded, not don't really listen, so on and so forth. And he was not very funny to me. A lot of the cliche, obnoxious characters that he's supposed to be are not funny to me. They never will be, because they're just not funny to me, of course. But for the most part, he was a bubbly guy. um, I'm not gonna lie, bias. I was hoping to see Sagittarius representation in this movie, but of course, it wasn't. But nevertheless, the overall movie, I give it about a C minus, C plus C minus, because the story was simple. I liked it how it literally talks about a woman who was a caretaker of this well-known family, this very rich, powerful family, and she was a tarot reader. And of course, the husband asked for a reading to predict what the future of his wife and his unborn child. And of course, every time she did the reading, it came out death. And in this case, it just meant death. So when that happened, he was upset. He was furious. He banished his mistress, or his caretaker, and her daughter, and they were never seen again until, of course, the husband's wife and daughter or unborn child actually met that horrible fate and died. And so he got a group of people in this town and took out her daughter. Yes, sadly. And so she bound her soul and her spirit to these cards with the curse. And that's why, if you are getting your future told by these cards, it comes true. And of course, in this sense, it's just the reverse meaning of these cards is what happens and what the truth is. It's not the positive side, it's the reverse, as I predicted. As like to make a horror movie, of course, it can't be the positive side, and then they just play up on it and make it horror. They did the actual reverse meanings of it. So overall, the movie wasn't super quick. It took its time taking out each of the characters that do end up not making it. I liked it that because a lot of times when you do get original movies, and I do feel like it's an original movie, and I want to say thank you to the dev team because for one, I've been asking personally for original movies, and I feel like it's close to an original movie. And I say close is I want to get something different other than the things that you can pick out from other movies. And like I said, the classic common trope of the friends get together, let's have a party, let's do something really stupid that will cost us our lives in the end. We see it so many times. Can we do something different? But for the most part, for an original movie, they did quite an amazing job. It's not bad as The Bye Bye Man. And The Bye Bye Man was quite horrible. I don't know even why it reached how far it reached. It was a really, really, really bad movie. But nevertheless, I would definitely give this movie a CC plus. Obviously, of course, the reason why it doesn't really deserve a B, simply because, for one, they just do the classic Arcana, I feel like. The ones that were easy to portray. That's what they did. Now, it would be cool to see what they did with Temperance. It would be interesting to see what they did with the sun. It would be interesting. There's so many things they could have done with, but they decided not to, and that's what was disappointing and whatnot. Of course, I didn't get into every little detail of this movie because I still want y'all to be able to enjoy it and make your own judgment from it. But for the most part, it wasn't a bad watch. I would definitely watch it again. Anything with horror that has multiple antagonists, spirits, demons, like 13 Ghosts, I'm a sucker for it because I love to see not only the original design of the characters, but I love to see what they do with each representation of something that's already been represented multiple times by different artists. So I love to see people's unique work and ideas of how to make it different. And I feel like in some ways, like Death and Devil, I feel like they picked the hardest ones because everyone's did it, and also too, Devil was kind of simple. You know what the devil is, but they could have portrayed the devil in a totally different way. Like maybe switched around the magician and the devil, meaning to where maybe the devil was an actual person that looked contorted, deformed, more devil-like, and the magician could have been more of necessarily not a person, but maybe it was a prop, and that was what its faith was. Like it was the hat, and then every time you saw the hat, it came out with a new trick, and that new trick definitely was trying to take you out. So they could have just did played on it a little differently. But outside of that, guys, I felt like it was a pretty decent watch. I think you should go check it out. I wanted to show you guys some of the. So this is one of the cards. This is the Hangman. Look at the design. So unique, contorted, skinny, veiny. Don't really have any. It's just a muscle man. All right, here's some more of the cards. So this is the High Priestess. This is the way it looked. This is Death. This is the Hermit. And this is the Fool. It's kind of blurry, guys. I'm so sorry about that. It's just hard to really find good pictures of these cards. Not only the cards, but the creatures themselves. So this is the Fool. This is, and I will put what they look like in the movies beside the cards. And I love the design. The artist behind this is such a talented artist. Here's the magician. He's holding a dead rabbit. Face definitely deformed, slender, skeleton-y, he's been doing this a little way too long, right guys? So yeah, those are just some of the cards that's just some of the cards that I can find. Since these characters were the main focus, these are the only cards that were really predominantly shown. But overall, guys, I really do hope you enjoyed this video. It was just a quick review of the Tarot movie. Definitely check it out and tell me which part of the movie you enjoyed if you've seen it. And if not, tell me if you're going to see it. I would love to hear your feedback. And I didn't get a chance to really say thank you to my subs. Thank you for the comments, Joseph Hamilton, K Boss, Elkus, Kiana, Kendall 218, and Yomares. I hope I said that pronounced. If I didn't, I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for your comments, guys. I do see them and I do heart them because I do appreciate them. But regardless, I hope you have a wonderful day, guys. I hope to see you on the next video.